Welcome to our live video series. Today we're going back to the EV world, which is a place I like to live, and we're talking about the 2020 Kia Niro EV and this specific stock number, because by watching this video and quoting this video, when you come to Brantford Kia on this stock number, you're going to save $1,000. Just like that. So that's Brantford Kia matching a deal from Brantford Hyundai just from last week. So Brantford Hyundai talked about the same type of deal, an extra $1,000 from watching our video on the Ionic, which is a little bit lower range, a little bit less expensive car. This one, Brantford Kia has now decided to match the deal on their final in-stock 2020 Kia Niro EV. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the Niro EV, pretending like I've never done a video on one before, and I've done lots on them. I like this car a lot. My family members own this car. So we're going to talk about this as if you've never heard about it before, but we'll probably go pretty in-depth and include some things that you maybe have not heard of before. So we're going to talk about all that and more at the 3-minute mark of this video. So if you're watching and you're not live with us, just skip ahead to the 3-minute mark if you want, and you can watch there. If not, I can show you how to join us, and we'll talk about some news and notes coming up. So let's flip the camera around right here. And if you want to join us live, all you have to do is go to our YouTube page, which is probably what you're on right now, refresh the page, or go visit it at exactly 2 o'clock Eastern time on a weekday, and you will see the live video pop up right there. I usually try to go live 1 minute before 2 o'clock. And we do this, and if I click into here, you may have to watch an ad, so we're going to tune away from that for a quick second. Like I mentioned, Brantford Kia provides us with the studio. They do everything. They take care of me. I've been here for a lot of years now. So that's where we're shopping, and if you're interested in a Hyundai or a Kia product in Ontario, just connect with me. After this video is done, I'll post a little link in the description. You can connect with me. I will hook you up with our sales team, and that's really important if you want the offer on this car, because it's going to come from quoting this video. So like I said, an extra $1,000 for watching me. My wife still won't watch me for $1,000, but at least not online. But you can. There we go. Somebody said, I'd like to own this thing. Well, let's go. Let's get it done right now. Maybe we can have it sold by the end of the video. That'd be cool. All right, so I'm letting your comments jump in there. Those of you who are on right now, feel free to hit that like button. Let's try to get to as many likes as we have viewers, and then at three minutes in, we'll talk more. All right, so what's going on, news and notes in the world? I don't know what we're doing tomorrow. It will be a Hyundai product, but I'm open to your suggestions if you have something that we want to talk about. And although there could be the Kia Carnivals, they were supposed to show up this week. It's Thursday, haven't seen them. So we got a few more coming in. You got LX, LX Plus, and SX coming in, so those are coming up. And probably next week I'm hoping to talk about the Santa Cruz when we get all the official information that I can share with you guys, so we'll do that as well. That's about it for coming up, what's going on in the news, and we'll continue on. It's at the 3-minute mark right now. All right, those of you that are joining us right now, feel free to hit that like button throughout this video. Let's see if we can get, EV videos tend to have a few less viewers, so let's see if we can go for 40 likes. Let's see if we can get there at the end of the video. 21 of you are on right now. If you all hit it, we're halfway there. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about this car. This is the Kia Niro EV, and I want to be really clear about why we're talking about them. When the Kia Niro EV first came out, we pre-sold more Kia Niro EVs before they had a price, before they had availability date. We at Brantford Kia pre-sold more Kia Niro EVs than anyone in the country. So that's pretty cool. And actually, at one point, I was told more than anyone else in the country combined. So that's pretty cool. So we've been into EVs for a while. I have pushed it hard here. So both myself, I've tried to be as knowledgeable as I can, our sales team and our service team. So if you're looking to buy an EV, I rarely say this about a gas car, but please come by from Brantford Kia, because I've had questions on the phone where sometimes the sales staff or the service staff does not have the knowledge off the top of the head that we do, and it just makes it easier for you, easier for us. So there we go. We're going to dig into this car, and I want to show you this specific stock number because this is going to be key here. This is our last 2020 model year, and it is an upgrade over the 2019 model year. If you've ever looked at 2019, this is the stock number, NI213. It's a 2020 Kia Niro EV SX Touring in graphite. There's the last 6 of the VIN. The reason that's important is, like I said, by watching this video, quote this video. Tell them you saw this video and you want your extra $1,000 off from watching this video on this stock number right here, and they'll take care of you, and I'll take care of you. Just reach out to me. They'll be, like I said, as soon as this video is posted in about half an hour or so, we'll put a link in the description. You can connect with me. All right, so let's talk about the key real quickly first. 2020s. Whoops, let's flip it around this way. 2020, there's your key. This is a little bit older style key. We've updated some of our keys to have buttons on the side. There's really nothing wrong with this. Some people don't like this key as much. I never have an issue. Some people say they accidentally hit the buttons here. I never have that issue at all. And to prove it, I'm going to throw this key in my pocket right now and not take it out for the rest of the video. So that's what the key looks like, and you can see it is a proximity key. So when you have the proximity key, simply by approaching the vehicle, touching the little dot on the door handle, you can unlock one door, all doors. Same thing when you approach the trunk. You can just unlock the trunk. The thing I like about the Kia Niro EV is it's a legitimate replacement for a gasoline car, and most of our Niro EV buyers have done just that. They've replaced a gasoline car with this. You'll notice on the Ionic video I did a while back, and when I talk about my own personal Kia Soul EV, the Kia Soul EV that I have is the short range one. The Ionic video is also a shorter range vehicle. It is an excellent second vehicle for families. Some people can get by with it as their primary vehicle, and that's perfectly fine. But what I usually recommend for that is it might be a second vehicle. This one today is a replacement for your gasoline car. It's rated at 385 kilometers of range. Most of our, in fact, all of the people I've been in touch with, but let's just be safe and say most of the people in the that I've talked to, 3 seasons of the year, are going to get well over 400 kilometers with this car. My own father bought this car. My own parents bought this car. They have been seeing charges of 500 plus kilometers on a fairly consistent basis. A little bit less so far this year, just because of the way they've been driving. And but you can, and I have had multiple people tell me they're getting some charges when they're driving efficiently over 500 kilometers on this car. So not going to say you're going to get that, but I will say 425 to 485, 3 seasons of the year is pretty important. A couple other little things you should know about before we dig into the driver's seat and go through things. You do have in this car what's called a heat pump. So you've got a couple things that go on and that are very important in an EV. You've got some battery warming technology that's very key to having long life and just what you're looking for in a fully modern EV. There is a version of the Niro that does not have that. We're not talking about that with this car. So you've got battery warming technology and a heat pump. The heat pump, the way they describe it to me, may be different than what you know as a heat pump. It captures, they said, picture a can underneath the hood that captures the heat from the regenerative braking and it stores it. And then when you turn the heat on, instead of just using the electric heater, it also takes that hot air and throws it through the cabin. How much does it save you in electricity? I don't know, but it does save something. So you have both of those technologies in this car, and that's important. The other thing I like is you have a roof rack. So you know I'm an outdoorsy type person. There is a roof rack on this car, and you can put your kayaks and your gear and other stuff up there. Sometimes you guys ask me about a hitch on this car. We don't sell one through our dealership here on this car. However, someone was in for service today with a hitch. I have not connected with them yet, but I can find out who they are. They do have a hitch on this car, so it can be done for those of you that want to know if it can be done. He had a bike rack. Again, this is not meant for towing, but he had an accessory bike rack in a hitch mount on this car. I have a picture of it. I can't show it to you right now, but we'll go there. So let's talk pricing for a real quick second, just so you know where we're at, and then we're going to dig right into the car. Vehicles, you guys probably know this if you're researching this car. Again, replacement for your gasoline car. Let's start with the MSRP, $54,495 for this car. We're going to talk about that. Right off the bat, you're going to save you get a $5,000 government rebate on this car, so you're less expensive again. 0% financing is on this car right now as of the time of filming, so you're going to save that on that again. And Tim, our sales manager, is going to give you an extra $1,000 just by quoting this video. All right, somebody asked wheel size, so I'll show you that before I jump in the car. They are 18-inch, 17. Oh boy, I forgot. I think they're 18. Can't read right there. Okay, there we go. Nope, 17. I'm wrong. 215, 55 are 17. So 17-inch wheels there on this car. They are 16 on the PHEV. So you do have an inch larger wheel here. And let's just jump in and look at some of the technology on this car. First of all, 2020 versus 2019, a couple little upgrades. It shows more prominently here on camera than it does in person, but each of these perforations has on the sides of the perforation, so on the sides of those holes, essentially, you can sort of see straight down, you see nothing, but on the sides of inside these holes is a tiny bit of a teal color. It looks a lot more prominent on camera. For whatever reason, the camera seems to pick that up very well. So you do have that. You have powered seat with a lumbar right there. Shipping plastic still on the car. We'll take that off and we'll take a look. Now, when I say it's a 2020 car and it's 2021, keep in mind, up until now, this is the current model year of this car. So I know that sounds weird. I believe it's a coronavirus thing. Both the Ionic and the Niro kind of got delayed a little bit. So 2020s are still current up until about now. The next shipment we're going to get are going to be 2021 models, even though we already have 2022 Kia Carnivals in stock, 2022 Kia Stingers in stock. So don't let the 2020 mark fool you. This is our current model year. All right, let's turn the car fully on, foot on the brake, and hit the start button. Because it's an electric vehicle, even though we're indoors, there are no fumes. Now let's talk about that for a quick second. You have UVO intelligence in this car, which means you have a cell phone app that can, this is my cell phone by the way, it's my imaginary cell phone. You have a cell phone app which is capable of starting the car. Now it doesn't really start the car, it can pre-warm the car. Of course, if you had a gasoline car, that cell phone app would start the car. The benefit, and I use this on my personal EV all the time, my car sits in a garage, it's cold in the winter. So I like to start my car in the garage, and I can do that with the EV. The other benefit with an EV in the wintertime is, yes, they lose some range. Most of the time in a car like this, you're not gonna worry about that because you have all the range you need. You can charge from your own house. And an EV is way more convenient in the winter because you get that instant EV heat, heated steering wheel, heated seats, and some of those things you can turn on from the app on your phone, which makes it much more pleasant. All right, let's jump in here, take a look at the dash. All right, so you can see, and I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. I'll show you how some of this works. Maybe you've never seen this car before. This little bar graph on the side, that is your battery, essentially. You can see it's not full. I said this car was rated for 385. You can see it's rated for 395 as it sits right now. So we're going to talk about that really quickly. Let's dig right into there. And again, if you looked at the 2019 before, you don't have this 10.25 inch screen. You used to have a third of, or 2/3 of that screen on 2019. So 2020, you do have the modern things. You also have multiple users. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But let's take a look. We have 86%, 395 kilometers of range. This is a way to find out a pretty good estimate of where you're going to get. If this car was fully charged, 462 kilometers of achievable range. That is real world achievable range. Now, not every car make can show you that of real world achievable range. A lot of them will show you a predicted range and you'll never actually get there. This car has been driven 462 kilometers, not this individual stock number, but this car, this vehicle has been driven 462 kilometers on a charge. Like I said, we have people, my parents have gone to Michigan and back from where we are, and still had 60 plus kilometers of charge. They've gone over 500 kilometers, on this car. So you get real world mileage 3 seasons of the year, well above. So like I say, I always say 425 to 485 is pretty reasonable 3 seasons of the year. And that's what you're seeing here. So real world charge, you get it in this car, and that's why it can replace a gasoline vehicle. It can also fast charge. We'll talk about charging times a little bit later on. So in the dash here, one of our better dashes in these cars. So you've got obviously you can see a very clear display screen in the center here. Total mileage on this car, 108 kilometers. It's been on a few test drives, been on a few different things, but that's a new car. So it hasn't even really been through a full charge yet. So brand new. And you have lots of things in the dash that you want. So lane keeping assist, which is what you expect, driver attention alerts. You've got tire pressure monitors, lots of driver assistance things. We can take a look at them a little bit later. You can see the energy flow of various things. There's your economical, normal, and aggressive drive gauge, which is kind of fun to look at. And again, ignore the kilowatt hours on some of these things. These are vehicles that, again, you can just see it go up. I'm sitting idling in this car, so don't worry about the range estimate. That's basically your fuel efficiency. Don't worry about those in these cars. Same as a gasoline car. When you're sitting in a dealership lot, especially on my videos, none of those are accurate right now. They're usually far worse than they actually are in real life. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, lots of information in here. Again, 16.9, probably not fully accurate. Okay for now, but not fully accurate for sure compared to what we can do. And that's a bar graph that moves. It is a nice color display screen. When I change drive modes here, which I will do right here, you'll see some changes, normal and sport mode. You can see sort of a red gauge in there. On the right side here, what you don't see is this is your speedometer right there. This is also a speedometer. It has a bar graph that goes around the outside the same way as your bar graph goes over there. So you do have a bit of a analog style gauge that fills in digital circles over there. The 0 and the 200, 0 and 200 right there is just your speedometer. 0 is there, 200 would be full. It's not gonna go 200. In fact, I think they're limited to 160 something. I don't remember. But you do have more torque than my pickup truck is what I like to say. I have a pickup truck, tows 7,000 pounds. It has like 269 foot-pounds of torque. This has 291 foot-pounds of torque. It is really crazy torquey in this car. Something like the Ionic has a little bit less torque. You also have 201 horsepower. Now, 201 horsepower doesn't sound like a lot, but that just keeps you going. It's the what really gets you going is the torque, and you have a ton of it here. So there we go. All right, let's flip it back around. Somebody asked about ambient lighting, and in fact, let's just show you. Does it have ambient lighting? Oh, I thought it did. It doesn't. You're right. It does have some ambient lighting here around this area here, which is not currently lit, but you can have that sort of lit up around there. And then in my Soul, you can change the color. So I believe you can do that as well. So the other thing you're going to get is Android Auto, Apple CarPlay on this screen here. A little bit of a thing that I like to show people because they're always sort of surprised by it. And it may not work right now. Oh, it does. Perfect. You can see we have no rain or snow or anything in the forecast. And this is this is something that people don't really realize these cars come with. And it is its own little weather station, essentially. So lots of things going on in there. Sounds of Nature, I'm not going to tell about that because I think it's silly. Lots of stuff in here. HD radio as well. So you have, on the stereo system side of things, let's just hit the radio button. You can see what it looks like. On the radio side, you have AM, FM, and HD radio, and Sirius XM. So HD radio I like to turn on because if there's an HD radio station, it gives you extra things. Consistently, you guys complain about piano black, and I'm going to fully disagree with you on this car. This is mostly just buttons. There is piano black as a trim. You're not touching this stuff. It's not a touchscreen. So I get that you guys don't like piano black when it's on some of the buttons, but or when it's non-buttons, but everything in this car has buttons. You have buttons down here that you can use. I never use any of these except for maybe that one. I always just touch the screen. So you've got some really nice big screen here. It's useful. If I throw the car in reverse, this is one of the best uses of our backup cameras. If you throw in reverse, you can see I have the backup lines here, which turn with the wheel. And of course, when you're parking, all you have to do is when you're turning into a parking spot, the blue line has to line up with your parking spot, and then you straighten this back out and you're perfectly in line. But you also have backup beepers and sensors there. Now we're backing up to some things that aren't going to be perfectly easy to see for those sensors, so we're going to go real slow here. I'm actually driving in the video bay, which is not something I normally do. There we go. You can start to see it's picking up in that area. It will go yellow and red as we get closer and closer. And the same thing will happen when you go forward, because when you go forward, I'm going to change it on the drive mode, sport mode. When you go forward, you can see the same display is shown in the center of your dash. Right, whoops, come on, camera, I got comments in the way. There we go. Same thing there. So you can see very clearly with your camera what's behind you, but you also can see ahead and behind you with the beepers as well that show a visual display. So very easy to drive and park. A lot of people really like parking and driving in this car. And one thing I want to point out, turning circle on this car is phenomenal. So let's talk EV stuff after we take some questions right now. Somebody did ask, how often do you have to service the car? There is a service schedule. The short answer is, what I suggest to most people is, if you're in Canada anyways, and this car, we're talking about this specific car, service the car when you swap your tires. So have them take a peek at it when they swap your tires. The main service you want to look at is you want to make sure you do your brake services, because especially with the front brakes, they're very rarely used. A lot of it's just regenerative braking. I can explain how that works later, but you have less braking in the wheel and more braking in the thing. Hey, there's Gabby. She thinks she's not on camera, but she is. All right, Gabby will sell you this car, right, Gabby? Yeah. There you go. All right, so we're going to take your questions really quickly, and then we're going to jump back in. I'm willing to stay on a little bit longer because this is a specific model that we're trying to sell here. So there you go. You got some people. Don't drive over, Teddy. Can you pull out this car with remote key? No. So this one does not have Hyundai's Smart Park feature. It's just driven purely by the driver's seat. Service, I have a service video on our channel. If you want to tune in, I service my own personal EV. We talked about how that works and what they do. I think that was around the 24,000-ish service. Maybe, I'm not sure exactly, but we did do a service. So you can search EV service on our YouTube channel, and you'll see a picture of me in front of my gray Kia Soul, and you'll see that. Somebody says, I like the cover. It's the color of this car. It's the graphite color. That's a good point. Hit the like button. Peter needs the support. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I need the emotional support of the like button. All right. What is the price without government rebate? We just showed you earlier. So again, without government rebate, MSRP is $54,495. You're going to get $5,000 government rebate, and you are going to get an extra $1,000 off just for telling them you watched this video. And I'm going to be really honest. People have paid full price for this. We don't discount it at the dealer. The dealer right now, if you watch this video, is going to give you an extra $1,000. That's Brantford Kia is going to give you $1,000 on this specific stock number. Just quote this video, save it, send it in the email. just reach out to me. After this video is posted, I'll have a link to me in the description, and I'll make sure you get the extra $1,000 if you buy this vehicle. They want to move this vehicle. It's our last 2020, so that's what's going on. Okay, so here's where we're going to go now. We're going to talk EV stuff, just EV stuff for the rest of the thing. I can eventually show you the rear seats over here. I can eventually show you the trunk. That's why we have Teddy Bear here in case we need to show the trunk to anybody. But I want to talk EV stuff. So let's talk charging times. If you plug it into a stage 2 charger, which looks like this, and I do recommend if you have a vehicle like this, that you get a stage 2 charger in your garage. Now, to be fair, I also have an electric vehicle. I have not installed that. I plug it into the wall outlet, just like you would on a, just like a cell phone, right? And I charge my car that way. Now, that's not typical use. Most people should get this charger. It's gonna take 9 hours to charge from empty. You're never empty. You're very, very, very rarely empty when you get back to your house. So if we do that, like I said, 9 hours. Now, what you're actually going to do if you're on a trip is you're going to stop at fast chargers. And they're pretty plentiful. You're going to use an app, and I can talk to you about those apps later, but you're going to use an app to find them. Yes, they are in the navigation system, but the app is going to find them better. And again, you have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, so you're going to use the app to find them. When you just plug in regularly, you're just going to unplug that. When you plug into a fast charger, you're going to plug in a single nozzle to both of those. It's going to charge 80% in just over an hour. So again, if we're talking that 450 kilometers of range that this car is showing, 460 I believe on this car, 80% of that you're getting back in about an hour. So let's say we drive 385 kilometers, which again is the rated range, but we're going to have 100 plus extra kilometers to spare. Then we stop at a fast charger. So you've driven for almost 4 hours. Then you're stopping for lunch for about an hour. Then you can drive another 385 kilometers plus whatever's left, maybe another 400 plus kilometers given the way this car performs today, this specific car today. So now you've driven on the road for 7 hours, right? And you're stopping for dinner. You could go again, or you could stop for the night. I tend to drive no more than about 1,000 kilometers a day when I do a road trip. You can road trip with this car. There is a charging network. If you are in the middle of nowhere, maybe this isn't the perfect car for you to fast charge. Interstate highways in the States, major highways in Canada, you'll find fast chargers within this range. It is very much a doable thing today. And that is not the case just even 2 years ago when we started selling these cars. You can find the charge network you need. Most of our owners are going to charge from home. And if I can do this correctly here, oh, I got to put this one in first. My car, I never take this out because I always charge from home. There we go. So you can see a little lighted area, easy to plug in, easy to charge. And again, most people are going to charge overnight. Most people do not charge more than once a week on these cars, sometimes twice a week, and they do it from their own home where it's the cheapest to do that. Do they charge you by how much you kilowatt? I don't know what that means. You pay for your electricity. So people always ask me, what does it charge? There are calculators out there. There are people smarter than I can do that. My entire house and 80% of my driving is in my electric car. So my house and my car, my electricity bill is $100 a month. Most people's gasoline bill is over $100 a month. So there is a savings there for sure, charging from home. Okay, let's talk EV stuff. When you get in this car, you're gonna go in, you're gonna put your foot on the brake, like I just did now. You're gonna start the car up. It's ready to drive when it shows you this symbol right there, ready to drive, which already was on right over there. So really what you're looking for is that symbol to light up. Just give it a second to do its checks, and then it's ready to drive. Then what you're going to do is you're going to use the electronic controller to slide it over to drive like that. You can see it's in drive. It makes a slight humming sound. It's required to by law at lower speeds. So you have that. And then what you're going to do is drive like a normal car. That's it. This is the only thing I want to tell you about right there, that level 2. That might say auto on some people's car. It might say level 3. It might say 0. So here's the thing. Kia is going to tell you it has 3 levels. It's got 1, 2, and 3. It's actually got 4 levels, and to be fair, it's got 5 levels. What you've got here, and bear with me, you have the paddle shifters. The paddle shifters, tap it, it goes less, tap it here, and it goes more. So you can see 1, 2, 3, and now I will claim it has an extra level. So if your first level, this is why I'm going to go with all the levels. Your first level is 0, so that's level 1 essentially. Then you got level 1 is 2, level 3. So you've got 4 already, right? 3, 2, 1, and 0. And if you hold this down, you actually get a little bit extra regenerative braking. So what that does is it can bring you to a complete stop without using your wheel brakes. So you have those paddle shifters. It seems like something silly. If you've ever talked to Tesla people, they have no idea what you're talking about. I can tell you, Kia Hyundai people love these paddle shifters because there are times where you want to coast and there are times you want to brake. The paddle shifters, you don't have to use them at all. You can set your regeneration to be more or less. It changes with the drive modes. You can customize it. You can even set it up so when you're coming to a stop sign, and this is how or stop light or whatever, this is how I have my personal car set up, and this is how all the cars leave here if I can set them up for you on an auto setting. What that does is if there's a car in front of you and you let go of the throttle, it will give you extra regenerative braking over if there was no car in front of you. In other words, you will have to brake less with the wheel brakes. I like to set up like that. It's very intuitive. It works very well. So it is sort of an auto regenerative braking system where it can give you more braking if there's cars in front of you, less braking if there's less cars in front of you, and you can also customize it and you can switch it on the fly with those paddle shifters. It's a really nice feature to have here. Now, let's talk about range. Oops, flip this around. Climate control is going to affect the range. Okay, so we've turned the climate control on. It's blowing nicely at me. It's a nice system here. It's gone to 17, 19 degrees. Okay, we're going to put it up to a reasonable 21 degrees. So it's a perfectly good climate system. Now, you do have a driver only button. Let's take a look at the range for a second. 385 is what it reads right now. I'm going to hit the driver only button now. Hokey smokes, we saved ourselves a kilometer of range. So if you have a Niro hybrid, use the driver only mode once the car is up to temperature or down to temperature because it will keep the gasoline engine from running. It's a very good feature on that car. In this car, don't use the driver only mode that much. I mean, you can, there's nothing wrong, but you're gonna forget to heat up or cool down your passenger and it's not gonna be worth enough range. If you're down to 1 kilometer, you've got bigger problems. You don't want an angry passenger that's also very hot or cold. So it is there, it is a nice function to have. It's not so much of a thing in an EV, but it's not the end of the world. What you're gonna use to keep people hot and cool in addition to the temperature though is rump roasters, heated seats in the front and the rear outboard seats. So the rear outboard seats are also heated. These ones have ventilated seats in the front, and that works very well. It doesn't just take the heat out of the seat, it moves enough air to cool down the seat. So you've got ventilated seats there as well. Electronic parking brake here as well. So those are the main things to keep you hot or cold. And you've also got the heated steering wheel there as well. And of course, a climate system. The less you use heat in the winter, the more range you're going to have. Most people, if you're like me, crank the heat in these things because it comes on very quickly, almost instantly. It warms up quicker. And those of us that have a gasoline car and electric car, everybody says electric cars are terrible in the winter. They're wrong. Those of us that have an electric car and a gasoline car, we drive our electric cars in the winter. Yes, they have less range, but for someone like me who is going to work in the same town or even in another town, I have all the range I'm going to need. I'm okay. If I lost 100 kilometers range, even if I lost 100 kilometers range just because of the cold and just because of my heat use, I don't care because this car turns on and heats up instantly. It's a better car in the winter than your gas car. So again, as long as you have enough range, you don't care. So most of the time, you're not going to have to worry about range with these cars, and you will like it in the winter more than your gas car because for me, I live fairly close to work, but I'm halfway or 3/4 of the way to work before my other vehicle, my gasoline vehicle, heats up in the winter, and I can feel the heat coming through. This car, before I'm out of my crescent, so I'm like 4 or 5 houses down the road from my house, and the heat is pumping through and it's warming up very quickly. So you're going to like this car in the winter even more unless you go on a very, very long trip. And if you go on a very, very long trip, you're just going to lose some range. So you quick charge a little bit more. Not a big deal. My parents go to Florida in this car. They drive it, so they fast charge, no big deal. A little bit different than a gas car because like I said, gas stop, 5 minutes. This car, you're going to stop for an hour. If that's the only sacrifice you have to make is on those long trips, probably worth it for you for this car. Again, maybe not, maybe it is. A couple other little things to show you. Wireless phone charging pad down here, a large storage space down here. If you are the kind of person who carries a purse, you've got space to put probably that down there as well. USB ports and 12 volt ports over here. So lots of options to keep things charged, keep things going there. You've got smart cruise control with that lane keep assist. So the smart cruise control is really nice because it keeps the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. It also is excellent in stop and go traffic because it can come to a complete stop. And all you have to do is basically sort of steer, and the car is capable of stopping and accelerating all on its own in stop and go traffic or in regular traffic. But I use my cruise control all the time in stop and go traffic because it's just better. Lane keep can help steer the car to keep it centered in the lane. We've got Bluetooth controls over here, audio controls, automatic headlights that are LED, and the fog lights as well. We can show you that in a second. Blind spot detection. So again, blind spot detection is in the mirror. The biggest feature of that is when you're in reverse, and I'll show you that real quickly right now. I can't show you exactly, but I'll show you what I mean. If I'm in reverse here, you've got the backup camera. If there's someone approaching from the side here that I can't see for whatever reason, the car is capable of warning me using the same hardware that is in the blind spot detection. It can warn me of someone about to cross my path, and it can really save you. So I find that I don't have too much issue with blind spots. I can adjust my mirrors where I'm pretty comfortable that I'm not missing a whole lot there. But the rear cross traffic alert can literally see things you cannot see from the driver's seat. So there we go. Excuse me for a second. We're going to turn my ventilated seat off. I'm going to put it back in park. I'm going to see, I saw some of your questions come in. Do the mirrors fold? A lot of you guys really like these folding mirrors. Do they fold? I can fold them in right here. So those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, check it out. Yep, they fold in. So those housings fold in and out. No problem. You can see that. Somebody asked about warranty. Is it longer on this car than a gas car? Yeah, it is. You get the regular car warranty. You also have EV and hybrid components. So EV components in this car are rated for, is it 7 years? I think it's 7 years, 160 kilometers. You have to check on the website. Sometimes that slips my mind. But it's a longer warranty on the EV related components than on the regular car. And the regular car still has a class leading warranty here in Canada. So if there's something else you want to see, let me know, guys. We're over time, but I'm totally willing to stay on for you. I don't know if I showed you the memory seats in this car. The Kia Soul does not have memory seats in the EV. The Kia Niro does have memory seats in the EV. Auto windows up and down. I mentioned the rear heated seats. Let's just show you them real quickly, which is kind of nice to have. So rear heated seats right there, as well as that. You do have a power port in the back there, a regular power port. That's a regular household plug. Nets in the cargo nets in the back there. Plastic back seats, vents back there as well, and a cup holder in the armrest, bottle holders in the door. Really well equipped if you're taking passengers. We'll show you the trunk. I won't throw Teddy in there now, but I can later. You've got underfloor storage here under the floor, which is kind of nice, and more of it down there. You've got the cargo net or cargo blind right there as well. So lots going on. Somebody says mine doesn't have the heat pump, it still heats up in the cold weather, and I should point that out as well. Yeah, the heat pump itself recaptures some of the for instance, regenerative braking. It can recapture that heat and throw it in the cabin. My personal car does not have that either, which means that if I need any heat at all, it's only using an electric heater, but that electric heater warms up very well. This car seems great for city driving. This is my biggest frustration. Okay, I'm gonna be angry right now. This is me stomping up and down. People seem to still think that an EV is a city driving only car. Yeah, it's great in the city. It's also great for everything else. So I just want to be clear. I'm not mad at the person who said this car seems great for city driving. Yeah, it's really great for city driving because EVs are awesome in the city. They are, he says, sorry. It's okay, we're cool. You and I are cool. But EVs used to be like 179 kilometers of rated range was Kia's EV, and it was a class leading EV. So the, again, as a class-leading EV, 179 kilometers, but it never actually reached that. You can see this car exceeds the range, and you can drive it several hours on the highway and several hours back. Like I said, my dad came from here to Michigan. Peter just said his dad drives it to Florida. Yeah, exactly. It's a regular car now. It doesn't have so little range. So you can absolutely drive in the city. It's great in the city. Somebody asked a very controversial question, and I'm going to give you personal information. They said, can you tow it behind an RV? Kia does not recommend this. However, and I can't say this with my Kia badge on wherever it is, we do have a customer who happens to be related to me who does dolly tow this car to Florida and back without problems. Kia does not recommend that. I am personally not going to recommend that. There is a person out there who does that. What's interesting about taking these cars camping is if you have an electric site anyways, you plug in and you're charging for free because you're paying for that electricity anyways. So that's one thing that they find interesting. Again, I can't mention that with my Kia badge on, so you just didn't hear that. And I don't recommend that at all. There could be an issue, but if there's an issue, it has not occurred to the person that's doing it, who happens to be related to me, and that kind of thing. So there it is. Any idea on the next year Sportage EV and Kia Niro? Sure, we'll talk next generation stuff in a second. I'm just going to go double check all of the questions here that came up related to this car, and then we'll go slightly off topic and we'll go there. So let me just see the question we have here. Oh boy. What about towing? Can it be towed? We talked about that. Any rumors? Okay, we'll talk rumors in a second. I am getting this car next time. You definitely should. This car seems great for city driving. We talked about that. I'm really sorry to the person that I jumped on with that. Who cares if it takes half of 1% to warm up my cabin, because it does immediately. I don't have to idle for 5 minutes while freezing. Exactly. Yeah, and that's a real big thing. People think, again, in the winter, EVs are just better in the winter, and the only catch with them is they do lose some range. To be fair, your gas car also loses some range. If you're going on a long trip, you need to plan for that. If you're doing your everyday driving, how many of us do 300 kilometers of everyday driving? Very few. So don't worry too much about that. They are better in the winter for everything else. Let's go a few of the off-topic questions. Somebody says EV6. Can we review the EV6 soon? We absolutely can. And there's Tim walking through. Yeah, we can review the EV6. We don't have it yet. And the EV6, we don't have. Somebody's trying to walk through my video, and they're totally welcome to. Yeah, you come on through. You're not on camera. Tim's behind me there, but we're not within the range here.
We're hiding.
Yeah. Anyway, so EV6 will be coming out soon. As soon as it comes out, we'll review. Same with the Ionic 5. That one's probably going to arrive first. We'll see that before this. Any idea when next year's Sportage EV versus Niro EV? So Sportage has not been confirmed for Canada. It will have a PHEV capability of the platform. We know that because of the Tucson, but no plans to have an EV that we know of. Tim, do you need me?
No.
Okay.
No.
And then any rumors of an EV PHEV Carnival? No rumors at all of the Carnival. Do not expect the Carnival to go EV or PHEV, although I assume PHEV might be possible, but I doubt that's going to come to Canada. We're going to sell every Carnival we can right now. I wouldn't expect anything to change until a refresh, which will be an easy 2-3 years from now. Warranty we talked about. I think we're caught up there. So that's all the questions that I see. So here we go. Let's just recap something real quick. If you want to buy this car, this stock number, which I will show it on screen, Tim is going to give you, and Tim's walking behind me right now, he's going to give you an extra $1,000 on this stock number just for quoting this video. Hyundai, what's that?
And 0%.
And the 0%, yeah, which is a Kia thing. So shopping at Brantford Kia is going to save you the extra $1,000. One thing I want to point out as well, I promised the Hyundai dealer, Brantford Hyundai, I would point out this video as well. You may want to look up that video. Just pause the screen there if you want to look up that. That is the same deal, the extra $1,000 for watching this video on 2 in-stock Hyundai Ionic. Same basic platform as the Niro, but they have less torque, less range, but it also costs a little bit less money if you're looking for that option. So there is your full EV video. Thanks for watching, everyone. We will be back tomorrow. And like I said, if you want to buy this car, as soon as I post this video, so in a couple minutes now, I'm going to post a link to reach out to me. Just reach out to me, and I'll connect you with our sales team, and they will take care of you. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you again.